And welcome to a little bit of time where I can get here with you and chat a little bit about the world of gardening. Yes, indeed. Just coming to say hello and catch you up on basically maybe some of the information that you need to know in your yard, in your garden. If you have any questions, you can just pop them in the comments and then I'll pop them up and I'll answer away. For those that will be joining maybe for the first time, my name is Frank Virginie, aka Frankie Flowers. I'm a four-time best-selling garden author. I have many hours, easily over 10,000 hours of gardening experience. More than that, product of child labor. My family has two garden centers, one in Bradford, one located in Barrie, Ontario, called Bradford Greenhouses Garden Gallery. You can see me each and every morning live on breakfast television, on City TV's breakfast television. This morning, I was in beautiful Niagara-on-the-Lake. I was at Pillar and Post with their beautiful garden that they're setting up for winter, where they're putting an ice rink in. They have it lit with some Christmas lights. And of course, they have some beautiful weeping willows there. They also have the little Monet garden where the pond is still growing and going as well. Just want to see if everybody can hear me. If you can, just put that in the comments that are there. I also just really wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's growing on in your garden. Tomorrow in Southern Ontario, we do have some adverse weather rolling its way through. It does look like there we go. There we go. We have a little. So we know everything's working. Hi, Frankie. I have a bunch of limelight hydrangeas that are still blooming. Probably that's what you're going to say. You can wait till the blooms are finished, but this is the thing that tomorrow in Southern Ontario, it looks like right around Lake Ontario through Toronto, the GTA, which is known as the Golden Horseshoe, we're going to be into an event that will be rainfall. Anywhere north of about Highway 89 for tomorrow could have the chance of getting some fairly significant heavy wet snow. That heavy wet snow could, of course, mat down and damage things just like that hydrangea. So being those hydrangeas have those big blooms, they're like snow catchers. And when they catch the snow, they'll bend them over and break. And as they bend over and break, that can cause harm back into the plant. That's why when it comes to limelight hydrangeas, PG hydrangeas, any of those varieties of hydrangeas that bloom on new wood, that's why I like doing a late fall pruning. And with that late fall pruning, it really makes sure that they're going to be safe, number one, and number two, they're going to grow on wood, grow on new wood, so they're going to be good on that end as well. We got Savatina saying hello today. That is Savita that's saying hello today. We have Matthew as well that's giving us a shout out. Good day, Matthew. And then we also have a little comment and or question here right now from Hi Frankie. Sipping tea at home here in Canmore. Not much growing these days. You know what? Even though things are not growing, yes, indeed, we still have a lot that we need to consider. Number one is what we can do is kind of reflect back on our garden that we had this year and kind of write some notes about what worked, what didn't work. Number two, we can plan for next year. Number three, we can take a look at some of our indoor plants and we can say to ourselves, hey, do I need to repot my aloe vera? Do I need to repot my pothos? Oh, now it's Christmas green time. So we're going to be using those Christmas greens and putting them in the outdoor urns. However, if some of those outdoor urns are ones that are, let's say, not fiberglass, but let's say that they actually could suffer from cracking. So concrete urns, even some of the plastic urns, if the soil sits in them and water collects, and then when that water freezes, it expands, it's going to break your pots. So maybe you should consider emptying your pots, sharpening your pruning shears. So there's lots growing on. There's always lots to do when it comes to the garden. So I like your comment. I'm going to give you your comment, but also I want to tell you that there's lots to do out there as well. We got a little hi, Frankie, as well from Paulette this evening. We got Roach or Rock saying hi, Frankie, as well. We got our friend Sue saying hello as well. So I just wanted to actually share some stuff with you tonight as well. So this is the presentation that I wanted to share with you, and hopefully I can get it popped up here. There we go. So we're going to share this with you, and this is what I did for the season show. So this here is, we're going to present in full screen. Oh, let me see if this will help. And then we go present. Okay, so this here is a little bit of the outdoor holiday trends that we kind of quickly reviewed with everybody that attended the season show. But I just wanted to kind of show everybody what's going on when it comes to some of the Christmas decor trends for this time of year. So if it comes to some of the holiday Christmas decor trends, of course, people are out there decorating. And often we say, why are we decorating? Why are we doing it? Of course, it's the experience, it's the theme, it's the personality. But a reminder, the reason why we're using evergreens indoors as a Christmas tree and outdoors for the entrance of our home or perhaps even in a wreath is that evergreen gives us some green. That green gives us hope. And originally, the reason why a Christmas tree was brought indoors was hope during the dark days of winter where we didn't have a lot of daylight hours, hope for a period of time when we'll have green return, being that it's spring. And then the incorporation of the white lights actually made the home, a lot of the times back in history, was candles, but you don't want to use candles, made the home a little bit brighter. And by being a little bit brighter, it allowed people to have some more hope and light and improve their moods. Adding Christmas screens to the front entrance makes your home look welcoming, but also can improve your mood. When it comes to decorating, of course, it usually is good to have a theme, somewhat of a common theme. Of course, we need to really pay attention to budget. But when it comes to outdoor decor, we got to pay attention to the elements like wind. Oftentimes, people will put these big urn stuffers, these planters of greens, and stuff them in their pots. But those pots are not weighted down and they continue to blow over. So sometimes putting rocks in the base of the pot to weight them down is a really good way. And then size and scale. Depending upon how tall your home is, will really be dependent upon the size and scale of that planter. Depending upon how big your door is, will depend on the size and scale of the wreath that you're going to put it on, because you don't want something too big or too little. You want something that makes impact. Trends, you'll hear about trends, and I always tell everybody out there, don't worry, you never have to be on a trend. A trend is something that's going to give you guidance and inspiration, but you don't need to be on trend. You just do your own thing, and it's all about you. It is your home. You pay the bills, you pay the taxes, so you can do what you want. So some of the trends that are always out there, of course, is the traditional trends. And we can see with this, where we just have basically red ribbon. Incorporated with that is some faux evergreens. We also have some spirals there. Those spirals that you see are faux, meaning that they're fake, with white lights. Very traditional. Very hard to overwinter an evergreen tree in a pot. So if you went and did the expense of putting that evergreen in, most likely you would have it brown, because they do suffer from moisture loss, especially near a front door where they don't have a lot of soil mass being in that pot. Real and rustic, I really like the collections that you see within this here. What you're seeing is a beautiful Christmas tree that's there, and it's just basically one that looked like it was just taken out of the forest. You can see that there are some antlers on there, as well as a collection of snowshoes, a sleigh, just very simple, an old pair of antique skis with a throw put down. Boom, you got a beautiful, beautiful, welcoming front entranceway. A lot of times it doesn't need to be that difficult. We just talked about hydrangeas in the beginning, and with those hydrangeas, you can actually capture those hydrangeas and perhaps use them in your urn. So you could be cutting your hydrangeas. So here's some things that you can find in the garden. You got your red twig dogwood, those stems that you see in the center. You can see the hydrangea blossoms that are stuck in. You can see with some white pine. You also see some blue spruce, and you can actually see some clementines and or oranges that you could just stick on a stick and stick them in. Sometimes you'll get Mother Nature's creatures eating them. So sometimes it's better even to find some ornamental ones of those. Here's a little look at a minimalistic kind of look that's out there, where less is more. You can just see how simple this is. And you can see that even just based upon how simple the colors of this home are. You got what looks like a light grayish blue door, and then you have a nice, really small wreath that's on that door, just a little bit of some thin garland that almost looked like it was bought at the dollar store. But you can see as a collection together with the 3 lanterns on the bottoms, the 2 Christmas trees, the little Mary sign, how simple this is, how elegant this is, and how affordable this could be. Add some personality and accessorize. Of course, just this makes it look beautiful because it is a log home, but you can see the incorporation of fresh evergreen boughs. That looks like it would be a BC cedar, the boughs, and you can just see them tied together. And as they're tied together and they're hung in a downward direction, the bottom of those is tied with a ribbon, so you don't see the bottom of them. You add in a couple floral picks that are in, and boom, you have a nice little door swag. Super easy. Even just the little box that you see there with the holly and the little pieces of wood all put together, a beautiful collection of even some presents in a little red sleigh. You can see how all of a sudden this little assembly with the bench and the nice little pillow that you see there as well with the red and black, which is basically, I like to call it country plaid. That there gives you a beautiful look overall. I love this too. More trees, please. You're actually seeing a lot of people, instead of doing an urn stuffer at the front, which is a bunch of assorted greens, but they're actually just putting a Christmas tree at the front door and decorating that tree. You still have to make sure that there's an area where you can put water within so that it'll sit pretty good outdoors. But if we ever go through a warmer period, that it will have some ability to absorb some moisture. I think what makes this picture look so good is the pair of boots and, of course, the little dog there with the ribbon. And, faux and real mixed together. There's nothing to say that you can't take real items, being real Christmas greens, and incorporating them with some fake and or faux and putting them together to make a really nice looking, welcoming look. And this is all just meant to inspire you. And then one thing that I'm seeing that is a big trend this year is indeed, it tends to be a Barbie world. Pretty in Pink. This is a hotel in New York City, which is really taking on the pink theme. I'm seeing pink everywhere this year. Pink trees, pink bows, pink blooms, pink ornaments, because it is indeed a Barbie world. So that there was just really meant to inspire you, hopefully get you into the Christmas season overall, and to really kind of make you think about what you could do at your front door. And of course, I'll give a shout out to my two family businesses, the Bradford Greenhouses in Bradford and the Bradford Greenhouses in Barrie. If you love Christmas, you'll love it there. You'll love it there. We take Christmas seriously. Marion, hydrangeas still in pots. Can I put them in a heated garage for winter? I would not recommend you putting them in a heated garage. What I'd rather you do is to take those pots, place them and dig them in the garden, and just plant them pot and all in the garden in soil. That additional soil around them will allow them to have more soil mass, and then that way the roots won't freeze as solid. It'll actually allow them to go into a dormancy period, and by going into the dormancy period, that's what it needs, its rest period. By being in a heated garage, they could dry out, they wouldn't go through the dormancy period, and you would do more harm than help. So that's what I would recommend for you. We got Christine. Hi, Frankie. You are one busy guy. Yeah, it has been really busy, but I'm having fun. Paulette is giving a shout out and saying hello from London, Ontario, or maybe London, England, but I would guess London, Ontario. We got Chris. Hey, Chris, what's going down? Hello, Frankie. Benjamina planted home that is about 3 foot tall. What size of pot do you suggest for this plant? So that Benjamina will already be in an existing pot. If it's at about 3 feet in height, I would guess that it's in an 8 or 10 inch pot that's currently in. I would put it no larger than a 12-inch pot. So that would give it, if it's in an 8-inch, that's 2 pot sizes up. If it's in a 10-inch, that's 1 pot size up. Generally, what we're doing is when we're repotting, we're only going 1 size larger, 1 to 2 sizes larger. So when it comes to when we do 8 inches, there'll be 8 inches for a pot size. There's a 10-inch pot, there's a 12-inch pot, a 14-inch pot, a 16-inch pot. You'll see 18-inch pots, and then you'll go beyond. But I would do, if that was in an 8 or 10-inch, I would do no more than a 12-inch pot on that. Diane, and sometimes you'll find pots measured in centimeters by instance. And when we're talking about the size of the pot, if you're wondering what's measured, it's the diameter of the pot. That's the measurement. So the diameter around. So when it's like 12 inches, it's a 12-inch diameter that is around. What critter is busy digging up my daffodils and leaving them on the top of the ground? Any deterrent? So Diane, if I was to guess, that was probably be a squirrel and or chipmunk that's probably looking for tulips, but then realizes it's a daffodil. And daffodils are poisonous to them, so they're digging them and then saying, this is no good, and leaving it there. Miracle-Gro has a hen manure. It's a pelletized hen manure. Get that pelletized hen manure and sprinkle it over the surface. That'll repel them and deter them from coming from that area overall. We got a shout out, good evening from Windsor. Good evening to you from Windsor out there. We got another person from Hamilton that just saw the Grey Cup. Hello for you there. Annette, hi from London. We watch BT every morning. Thanks for watching Breakfast Television every morning. Tomorrow, the forecast, I'm going to be busy. The rain coming into Toronto at around 10 a.m. is the current timeline on that. We got a big shout out from the East Coast from Tammy in Nova Scotia. Hello to you as well. We have another comment here from Hadi. Oh, something. You are inspirational and creative genius on City TV. Keep the brilliant ideas coming. Best wishes from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I'd love to know the meaning between Hadi, MP, Hadi, Mom, please, I don't know. But there's a story there. I'm telling you, there's a story. And it's probably a creative story. I always try to keep it up. So Chris is saying to us as well, I have an indoor approximately 3 foot tall. Just went through the size of pot that was there as well for you. We have, let's pop over here, Cheryl. Comment there as well. Always wise words. Thanks, Frankie, for beautiful pictures and idea that are out there. A little shout out to Barbie, where people are liking, do you like pink? You know, I'm going to tell you, if you're somebody that's intimidated by decorating for Christmas indoors or out, just get a high quality or a fairly good quality Christmas tree, either fresh or real. And let's talk about that right now. Fresh or real, fresh or faux. So fresh trees that are a live cut Christmas tree, after you've done them and used them for the season, they're put back out on the curb. And then when they're put back on the curb, they're composted and entered back into the soil. And then they're replanted. And as they grow, they're offering habitat and wildlife and even creating oxygen for those. So there's a whole method to the viability and the environmentalism of a real cut Christmas tree. And they're fantastic. If you're someone that likes to put your Christmas tree up early, if you're somebody that's not good at watering a Christmas tree, if you're somebody that doesn't really like to have the smell or fragrance of a Christmas tree in your home, then you would want to go to an artificial tree. The artificial trees now have really improved themselves. Some artificial trees now, instead of going to plug in the wires as you're putting the tree together, many of them now, they're basically, once you plug in the sections, they'll light based upon those sections. So every time you plug in a section, it's plugging in that next section of lights. And also with the newer light strands now, if one light goes out, the whole strand does not go out. So they have improved. Those trees themselves should last 10 to 15 years if they're a fairly good quality tree. Well, do they go in the landfill? Yes, they will go back in the landfill. Can they be recycled? Some elements can be recycled. But just to let you know, at one point, that faux Christmas tree couldn't make it back in the landfill. However, once again, a fresh cut Christmas tree, if dried out in your home, can be an extreme fire hazard. So you make the choices as well. So we got Susan from London giving us a shout out as well. Love London, Ontario. We got Jan. Loved all the decorations at the Berry store. They've done such a great job up there. Question, here we go. Hi, Frankie. Is it still okay to overseed your grass? So one thing that I would still do and do with confidence right now is you still have time, and you could still put down some turf builder, the Scott's turf builder, forgive me, fall lawn food. You could still put that down. Grass seed, if you were to put grass seed down, some of it would germinate, some of it may not, because our soil temperature is not warm enough. But we do get these little swings in temperature during the winter season, even late fall, where sometimes you'll see some germination. So if you had leftover grass seed and you don't have a lot of leftover grass seed and you don't want to store it, because if you're storing it in a shed or in a garage, it'll still keep, but you have to put it in a sealed container so mice doesn't get into it or something like that. But if you didn't have a lot of it and you just want to do a quick overseeding, there's no harm in that. But is it the best use of grass seed? No, it's not the best use of grass seed that's out there. We got T-Bone, my good friend T-Bone, who's in the Holland Marsh. Good evening, Frankie. Good market prices for carrots. Indeed. Hey, I want to tell you guys the carrot prices this year. T-Bone's actually one of the carrot farmers in the Holland Marsh, as well. My cousin's farm in the Holland Marsh as well. There was some crop failures in the U.S., and there was also some other global shortages of carrots. So this year, the local farmers in the Bradford and surrounding area where they had really good crops this year, mostly overall, are getting finally some good prices. So if you're wondering why your carrots are a little bit more expensive in the grocery store, it's because there are shortages globally around the world. But the benefit is you're benefiting a farmer just like T-Bone there as well. Twixie. Hi, Twixie. Hi, how are you? We got Roberta on Facebook. Hi, I wanted to make my own Christmas outdoor decor pot. Should I use the same soil, or my friend insisted on sand oil only? So you can use sand and or soil. It's totally fine with using either or. You can use the same soil, and sometimes if you had plants potted in there, the root mass that's there, you'll see that the stems can stick in quite easily. The other thing, if you don't want to use as many Christmas greens, that's when you're going to get a floral oasis. And a floral oasis is like a green block that you soak in water. Then you stick that block into the soil and you tape it down with floral tape. And then you're sticking all your greens into that floral oasis, that floral block. That way it spaces them out, so you're not having, like a lot of the times, if you put them in sand, you'll see that you have to put more in the sand because the sand won't hold them firmly. So you actually have to stuff them in and almost crowd them so they'll hold themselves up. Sand, maybe the reason why she's saying sand is thinking about drainage of the sand. But as long as that pot is a pot that if it freezes and the water expands, it won't crack. So as long as it's a high quality, good pot, like if it's a cast iron urn, don't worry about it whatsoever. There you go there for as well. We got a little shout out from Innisfil. Hello from Innisfil. Diameter is across, not around. Diameter, it depends on the size of the pot and the way that they measure the pot. They will measure them by around in terms of diameter as well, just to let you know, because my family's greenhouse growers. That's what we do. And diameter in terms of mathematical, you are right. It is across the diameter. You are across. I was talking circumference. There we go. Samantha. Yeah, my sister's a math teacher. Sometimes I'm not that smart. So you are right. We're both kind of right. Hi from Mallory Town, Ontario. No questions tonight, but love listening. Thank you very much. I got to brush up on my math. Circumference, diameter. Maybe it's just I lack sleep. That's what's happening. Hello from Whippy. What a great time for a tea and watching your show. Thank you very much, guys. You know what? I'm going to do a little bit more like at the beginning of this little broadcast. If you didn't get a chance, we showed some of the holiday trends, which I did on a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to continue to do that. That way, visually, you guys can look at something more than just me. But it's great to be here tonight with you as well. Paula Polly, good evening. Hello, how are you doing today? And this is what I love too. Just if you're new to this, when we're on here and you answer a garden question, let's say that I don't get to your question. You have a whole bunch of people on here right now that have a lot of garden experience. And because they have garden experience, they're going to look at the comments. And I really encourage you, if you know an answer, to chime in. If somebody's looking for something and they're like, hey, I don't know where to find chive seeds. If you put it on there, somebody in the community will tell you where to go find them. So that's the whole idea of this. This happened during the pandemic where I started doing this, but now I want to keep the community going and growing so that we can inspire, help each other, promote. Maybe if you have a business in the garden world too, we can promote it as well. So I use soil, but only filled half the pot. I never had any issues with the damage to my plastic pots doing this. And I'm in Parry Sound area. It gets quite cold here. So there you go. There's another little recommendation there as well. Here's Christine saying, how early are you able to put up a real tree? Itching to put one up, but I think it's too soon. If you provide water, I would be confident December 1st would be where I would feel confident in putting your indoor Christmas tree. As long as you have a nice big tree stand that actually has a good water capacity and you keep it well watered. The other part too is when you put a fresh Christmas tree in your home, if there's a vent close to it, block that vent, turn that vent off, because that vent coming on can actually dry the Christmas tree out. So December 1st is where I would feel confident. Miracle-Gro actually has a supplement. You'll see it. It comes in a little round bottle, and you'll see it where you're buying your Christmas trees. And even though I work for Miracle-Gro, but I've done research and reviews, and you can even ask the people at Miracle-Gro. I said before I can actually comment and promote this, I got to know that it does work and make a difference, and it does. It actually number one will take that water and make sure that there's no impurities in the water, so no bacteria. And then it does add a little bit of some nutrient there for the tree itself. So it does help and makes that tree last a little bit longer. A lot of people even say they see their trees growing after as well. Susie. Last year I had cancer and bought a mini potted cactus tree, and it grows in my forest. So if you are buying your little mini trees, this is really another good point about Christmas trees and good discussion time too. So if we buy a potted Christmas tree, with a potted Christmas tree, we really only want to bring it indoors 1 to 2 weeks before Christmas. And right after Christmas, we'd like to put it first in the garage for a few days, maybe even a week, and then back outdoors. Because if we put it indoors for too long of a period of time, it'll actually trigger itself to think that it's warmer climate, being indoors with a warmer temperature. It'll push itself into growth. It'll flush growth. And then when you put it outside, it'll actually snap it back and give it damage. It'll actually, the frost, the cold temperatures on that new growth that happened will damage. And often what happens is with these potted Christmas trees, you have good intention, but you can lose them. So that's really good, Susie. And I hope that cancer is out of here, because F cancer, I don't even mind saying that, F cancer. And sometimes what we have to do is have the mindset and be grateful that we have each and every day, and just also believe and have hope. That's always the key that's out there. Cancer has been something that has touched my family quite a bit. 4 cats eat the Christmas tree too. Yeah, cats can get into it as well. A lot of the times people ask me about Christmas cactus, and Christmas cactus are non-harmful to cats and or pets. So it's a really good plant for your home. Poinsettias are a fibrous plant from euphorbia. So if you ever break a poinsettia, you'll actually see that it has almost like a white gluey substance, that the sap that comes out, that there can be a skin irritant, but also can cause, and even the leaf itself can cause sickness in cats and dogs. So if you have a curious cat, a curious dog, I recommend not putting a poinsettia inside your home. Miriam, good evening, Frankie. How are you? I'm good. I'm having passion flower in full bloom inside the home. Beautiful, tons of buds, and 3 to 4 flowers have already bloomed and lots of new growth of the plant. How should I take care of that plant right now? If the plant is growing and doing well, and it looks like it appears to be actively growing, I would only give it a light fertilizing once a month, a light fertilizing with an all-purpose fertilizer. Leave it where it is if it's nice and happy. Mist it on occasion. Now that our heaters are going to be going on in our homes, that'll actually create drier air in our home. So every day I would give it a light misting with water, and that would add humidity around the pot and really help it out. If you had a humidifier, that would be really beneficial as well. We have another comment and or question. Hi, Frankie, sending love from St. Clements, Ontario. Brittany, sending love back to you as well. Tracy Barber. Tracy, how you doing today? Christine, as long as you keep it watered, anything from now will be good. The trees are already cut. Yes, that's the other part too. With the Christmas trees, when you're going to Christmas tree lots and you're seeing them for sale and you're like, well, I want one fresh cut. This is not fresh cut. What happens is they get cut in late fall. Some of them even get cut in September. Many of them get cut in September. And once they're cut, the tree itself will seal itself at the bottom. They're laid in an area where they're put in shade. And then when they're brought for sale, the best thing that you can do is if you ever take your thumb like this and your finger like this, and you're going to take the tree and you're going to take one of the branches of the tree, and then we're going to go like this with our thumb, and we're going to pull down like this. If we find a bunch of needles coming off in our fingers, that tree is dry. If we go to pull like this and we hardly see any needles coming off, that tree is fantastic and fresh. Even when you smack the tree, there'll be needles that come out, because in the center of the tree, there'll still be needles that are there. Do that test and you can see the viability of the tree. So important when you bring the tree home that before you put it in the stand, almost immediately before you put it in the stand, you fresh cut. You cut it again. That opens it up so then that way it can accept the water in. And then you're going to be off to the races, just like that. We got Susan Staples asking a question. How often should you water floral arrangements outside this time of year? Because we've been gray and we've been dark and we've been seeing a frequency of rain, we don't necessarily have to water them that often. If we go through a period where we have 5 days of above freezing, where we have dry conditions and lots of sunshine, I would recommend watering them. So, and the other thing too is if they're not frozen, just take your finger, and if the soil feels dry, there's no harm in watering them. But because we don't have a lot of daylight hours, and like say for instance, tomorrow is going to rain, and then we really have not a lot of sunshine in Southern Ontario all the way through for the next 6 days. So because of that rain and no sunshine for 6 days, we probably don't have to water that for, if it was to stay above freezing, which it's not going to, we wouldn't have to water it for at least 10 days. But as soon as it freezes nice and solid, you don't have to water it at all. I'm going to go with a couple more questions that are out there. Looking for snowdrop bulbs. There are still some garden centers that are discounting and selling some of their fall bulbs. Many of them are out now and they want to be out by this time of year. But I have been to some even home improvement stores like Home Depot and Lowe's, just to ask if they have any bulbs left over. So, and even just do a quick call around. If anybody knows where you've seen some snowdrop bulbs for sale, please give a little shout out to Michelle. Let her know in the comments as well. Leanne from Mississauga asking if you have a real reef for your door, what is the rule? Can you add string lights to it? Absolutely. There is no rule. And with string lights, you can even get the battery operated string lights, or you can get solar string lights. So when you're wiring it through your reef, the battery operated ones will last a long time, and they actually have a light sensor on them, so they'll shut themselves off. So you can purchase those at many Christmas decor stores, and sometimes you can get the solar ones that you can purchase at a Christmas decor stores, either like a Garden Gallery or sometimes at Michael's. Canadian Tire sometimes has them, and even Amazon as well. We're going to do one more question here and or comment. We got Susan Staples, who's adding a comment. Are the paper whites out yet? I've seen some paper whites, not where they're growing, but where you can buy the paper white bulbs and the amaryllis. If you can, guys, if there's one thing that you can do this week, go out and buy an amaryllis, because amaryllis is just this funky, huge bulb that puts this big spike out with this big bloom, and they either come in white, red, even striped colors. They are so fun. They are so fun. Somewhat phallic looking, but fun, and a big bloom. And there's nothing, we all need a big bloom. You know what I mean? I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that because hopefully I gave you guys a smile. For all those that asked questions this evening, for all those that participated, there we go. And for all those that just spent some time and hung out, it's so good to see you all. Have a blooming remainder of the week. You'll see me here next Monday as well. Check out Facebook, check out Instagram. I always have information there. You can go on my website, frankie@frankieflowers.com, sign up for the December newsletter that's coming up as well. You can email me through the website, so frankieflowers.com. Check it out. And I hope you guys had a really good night. I really hope everybody had some fun. And ciao for now. Off to make dinner for my son.